listen to me. Right now, you're either building your dream or you're allowing distractions to destroy it. There's no middle ground. Every time you let your attention drift, every time you pick up the phone, scroll mindlessly, react to nonsense, you're giving your future away, not in big dramatic ways. In inches, and inch by inch, your dream starts to slip. The truth is, success doesn't come to the smartest person in the room. It doesn't even come to the most talented. It comes to the person who can control their mind, the one who can shut the door on distraction and say, not today, I've got something bigger to build. Because here's the raw truth: in life is noisy. Your environment is going to test you. People will try to pull you in 1,000 directions, your phone, your doubts, your habits. They'll all try to knock you off course. And if you don't take command of your focus, they will win. And when they win, you lose time, you lose progress, you lose the edge. You think you need more time? No, you need more focus. Because in a distracted hour, you'll get nothing done. But with 1 hour of pure, locked-in focus, you can make massive progress. That's what separates those who succeed from those who struggle their whole life. They know how to lock in. They know how to say no to everything that doesn't serve their vision. Your mind needs to be trained like a warrior's, laser sharp. Ruthless. You wake up, you decide what matters today, and you protect that mission with everything you've got. You stop reacting to every ping, every drama, every fear. You decide what gets your attention, you decide what doesn't. That's power. Because when you let distractions win, you're handing your power away. You're saying the world controls you, but you weren't made to live that way. You were made to take control, to lead, to dominate your space. And that starts with controlling your focus. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait to feel ready. You focus now. You go all in now. You show up like your life depends on it, because it does. Every second you waste is a second you can't get back. While others are drifting, you're building. While others are scrolling, you're sharpening. While others are distracted, you're locked in. You want to change your life. Start by changing where your attention goes. Stop looking at what they're doing. Stop worrying about what might happen. Focus on what you can do right here, right now. Turn the noise off. Tune the vision in. Go to war with distraction. Build a mind that nothing can shake. Because once you master focus, nothing can stop you. Not the obstacles. Not the fear, not the competition. When you're focused, you become unstoppable. So today, focus. And let nothing distract you. Your life is being shaped by what you choose to focus on. Every single day, every single moment. It's not your background, your talent, not your circumstances that define your future. It's your focus. The mind is a powerful tool. When it is locked onto a vision, when it is trained to pursue a goal with intensity and clarity, it becomes unstoppable. But when it's scattered, distracted, and pulled in 1,000 directions, all that power leaks out, and so does your potential. If you look at your life right now and you're not where you want to be, financially, physically, emotionally, it's not because you're not capable. It's because your focus has been hijacked. You've allowed the world to dictate where your energy goes. You've allowed the urgent to replace the important. You've given your attention to what's immediate, not what's meaningful. And every time you do that, you make a trade. You trade your long-term vision for a short-term reaction. You trade progress for noise. You trade greatness for comfort. The results you have in your life right now are a reflection of the patterns you've been feeding. If your focus has been on problems, you'll see more problems. If your focus has been on what you lack, you'll feel like you never have enough. But if your focus is locked onto growth, onto purpose, onto solutions, then you start to expand. You start to evolve. You start to take control. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your focus. You can set big goals, dream big dreams, create vision boards, and write affirmations all day long. But if your attention is constantly being pulled away by distractions, by opinions, by fear, you will never reach those goals. Not because you're not worthy of them, but because your energy is being scattered instead of concentrated. Energy flows where focus goes. Think about that. Your time, your effort, your thoughts, they are like currency. And every day you're spending them. The question is, are you investing them into something that will grow your future, or are you wasting them on things that give you nothing back? Social media, meaningless conversations, doubts, gossip, comparison, laziness, all of these are energy thieves, and they feel harmless, but they add up. They accumulate over time, and before you realize it, you've spent weeks, months, even years chasing distractions while your goals gather dust. The ones who create real success don't have more hours in the day. They don't have easier lives or more resources handed to them. What they do have is the ability to lock in on what matters and eliminate what doesn't. They understand that their focus is sacred. It's not something to be handed out freely. It's something to be protected, guarded, and directed with intention. Because when your focus is pure, when your mind is clear, when your heart is aligned with your mission, there is no force strong enough to stop you. But that level of focus doesn't come by accident. It's a decision. Every morning when you wake up, you're faced with a choice. Will you lead your mind, or will you let it be led? Will you focus on the day's mission, or will you let distractions dictate your direction? That choice may seem small, but it's everything, because it's the small daily disciplines that lead to massive long-term shifts. If you want to build a future worth living, you must train yourself to be ruthless with your focus, not once, every day. You must learn to say no to things that don't align with your vision. You must learn to delay gratification, to resist temptation, to ignore what's shiny and focus on what's real. You must learn to be still in a world that's moving 100 miles an hour. You must learn to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Focus is not just about doing more. It's about doing less of what doesn't matter. It's about being intentional with your time, your thoughts, your environment. It's about building a life that aligns with who you truly are, not who the world expects you to be. And it's about getting clear, crystal clear, on what your future looks like, and then refusing to take your eyes off it. When you control your focus, you control your life. You stop reacting and you start creating. You stop surviving and you start thriving. You move from chaos to clarity, from frustration to fulfillment, from drifting to dominating. And that shift isn't some magical transformation. It's the byproduct of disciplined focus. The truth is, the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not filled with luck. It's not even filled with more time. It's filled with focused action. And every time you choose to silence the noise, to zero in, to commit fully to the moment, you move closer. Closer to the person you were meant to become, closer to the results you've always wanted, closer to the life that's waiting for you on the other side of distraction. So decide right now, not tomorrow, not when things are easier, not when you feel like it. Decide today that your focus matters more than your comfort, that your future matters more than your fear, that your dream matters more than your distractions. Because once you lock in, once you truly commit, once you live with purpose and focus, everything changes. Distractions don't show up screaming. They don't crash through your door with sirens and alarms. They sneak in quietly, disguised as comfort, disguised as entertainment, disguised as urgency. They feel small. They feel harmless. But make no mistake, they are lethal. They are the silent killers of momentum, of discipline, of purpose. And if you don't recognize them for what they are, they will bury your potential before you even realize it's happening. Dreams aren't destroyed in a day. They die in delay. They die in the moments when you tell yourself, just 5 minutes. When you pick up the phone instead of picking up your focus, they die in endless scrolling, in meaningless conversations, in reacting to every notification, every message, every drama that has nothing to do with your mission. You think you're just taking a break. You think it's just one distraction. But every distraction is a detour. Every distraction is time, energy, and focus stolen from the very thing you said you wanted. You don't lose your fire all at once. It fades because you keep feeding the noise. Every time you choose the easy thing over the necessary thing, every time you allow your mind to wander when it should be locked in, you're weakening your focus. You're stretching your attention so then that nothing you do has impact. You become busy but ineffective, active but unproductive. And that gap between your effort and your result, that gap is filled with distraction. Success demands your full attention, and distractions, no matter how small, fracture that attention. They break your rhythm. They interrupt your flow. And the more you entertain them, the more they become your default. You train your brain to chase comfort instead of results. You train your mind to avoid effort and seek stimulation. And soon, you're stuck in a cycle of false productivity, always doing something but never making progress. Look around. The world is filled with people with massive potential, people with great ideas, with incredible ambition, with powerful dreams. But they're stuck, not because they aren't good enough, not because they don't want it, but because they've allowed distractions to rob them of consistency. And consistency is the bridge between a dream and its reality. Without it, your goals are just wishful thinking. With anything becomes possible, but you cannot be consistent when you're constantly distracted. The dangerous thing about distraction is that it feels good in the moment. It satisfies the craving. It scratches the itch. It gives you that quick dopamine hit. But it steals your focus. It delays your progress. It trades a short burst of pleasure for long-term fulfillment. And that trade is never worth it. Because what feels good now is usually the very thing that holds you back from greatness. The hard truth is this: you cannot grow if you don't learn to guard your focus. You cannot evolve if you keep letting distractions dictate your direction. If you want to build something meaningful, you have to be willing to say no, again, to the things that pull you away from your path. That means saying no to the endless notifications, no to the shallow entertainment, no to the things that waste your time but never feed your future. You don't rise by doing more, you rise by doing what matters fully and without interruption. That requires intention, that requires boundaries, that requires self-awareness. You have to become brutally honest about what's stealing your time. You have to become aware of the patterns that lead you away from your priorities, and then have to have the courage to cut them out, not later, not when it's convenient, but now, because every moment you wait is a moment you never get back. Your dream needs your full focus. It needs your attention. It needs your energy. And every time you give that to something else, you're pushing your dream further away. You cannot build a legacy with a distracted mind. You cannot become your highest self while being consumed by the noise of everything and everyone around you. The journey to greatness is a narrow road, and it requires a narrow focus. So take control. Don't wait for the distractions to go away. They won't. The world will only get louder. The temptations will only grow stronger. Your mind will always look for the easier path, but your power lies in your ability to choose, to say, I'm not giving in today. I'm staying locked in, to train your brain to stay centered on the goal, to protect your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Distractions are silent, but their damage is loud. They don't just steal your time, they steal your identity, they disconnect you from your vision, they dilute your power. Don't let them win. Not now, not ever. Refuse to let another moment slip into the hands of things that don't serve your destiny. Your dream deserves better than that. Your future demands better than that, and the only way to honor it is to take your focus back. Right now. The world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do, and how well you do it. It doesn't reward scattered energy. It doesn't reward half-efforts, kind of committed goals or almost finished ideas. The world rewards laser-focused execution. Period. You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't have the discipline and the clarity to bring them to life, they are worthless. They stay trapped in your mind while someone else with less talent but more focus executes and wins. Too many people are stuck in the cycle of thinking, planning, overthinking, and then changing direction. They're always preparing, always researching, always waiting for the right time. But success doesn't come to the one who waits the longest. It comes to the one who takes action with precision and consistency. The difference between winning and losing often comes down to one thing: who executed and who hesitated. Laser-focused execution means cutting out the noise. It means getting crystal clear on what needs to be done and doing it without hesitation. It means tuning out the distractions, ignoring the drama, silencing the doubts, and getting down to the real work. It's not glamorous, it's not comfortable, but it's powerful. Because in a world full of people who are busy being busy, the one who is focused on results becomes unstoppable. Most people dabble. They try one thing for a few days, get bored, distracted, or discouraged, and then jump to the next thing. They confuse activity with progress. But focused execution is different. It's sharp, it's intense, it's deliberate. It's about making one move, one decision. One project matters so much that it pushes everything else into the background. It's about locking in on the goal and refusing to be pulled away until it's done, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets. If you want to rise above the average, you have to work differently. You can't afford to chase 10 things at once. You can't keep switching paths every time something gets hard or something shiny catches your eye. You have to learn to stay, to dig deep, to double down. The ones who win are not always the most gifted. They're the ones who stayed focused long enough to finish what they started. And they understood that results don't come from scattered effort. They come from consistent, focused action repeated over time. The truth is, we live in a distracted society. Everywhere you turn, someone is trying to steal your attention. Ads, messages, notifications, opinions. It's endless. And if you don't build muscle of laser focus, you will be consumed by it. You'll wake up one day and realize that your dreams never happened. Not because you weren't capable, but because you never focused long enough to make them real. Execution requires commitment. It requires emotional control. It requires that you stop chasing motivation and start chasing discipline. You show up when you don't feel like it. You take action even when it's boring. You keep moving even when it gets tough, because that's what execution is. It's not a burst of energy. It's a way of operating. It's a mindset of completion. It's doing what you said you would do long after the excitement has worn off. Every successful person you've ever seen didn't get there by accident. They had moments when they wanted to quit. They had days where everything felt impossible, but they kept going. They kept showing up. They kept executing. And because of that, they got what most people never will: results, real, measurable, undeniable progress. There is no shortcut. There is no secret strategy. It's focus and execution over and over, day after day. And the deeper your focus, the faster your execution, the greater your results. The world pays attention to those who get things done. The world opens doors for the ones who deliver. The world rewards the doors, not the dreamers who never act, not the talkers who never finish, not the thinkers who never move. It rewards the ones who take a plan and bring it to life with ruthless execution. So if you're tired of being stuck, if you're frustrated with your results, the answer is simple: focus harder, execute faster, remove the fluff, cut the excuses, stop looking for motivation and start building momentum. Don't wait for clarity. Create it by taking action. Don't wait for confidence, build it through execution, because that's where power is found, not in the intention, but in the follow-through. Focus on fewer things. Do them better, do them fully. Do them with such intensity that there's no room left for distraction. Master the art of deep work. Train your mind to stay present. Eliminate everything that slows you down. Protect your time, guard your energy, and when you commit to something, see it through to the end every time. That's how you stand out. That's how you rise. That's how you win. The world is watching, and it's not watching to see how many ideas you have. It's watching to see what you'll actually finish. So lock in, cut the noise, execute with purpose, because the world doesn't reward the one who started. It rewards the one who finished. Focus is not a switch you flip on when you feel inspired. It's not something that magically shows up when the conditions are perfect or when motivation strikes. Focus is a byproduct of discipline. And discipline is the keeper. It stands at the door of your goals, demanding consistency, sacrifice, and self-control before it lets you through. Everyone wants to be focused. Everyone wants to be locked in, sharp, effective. But very few are willing to pay the price. And the price is discipline, the ability to do what must be done even when you don't feel like doing it, the ability to choose structure over chaos, progress over comfort, the long term over the immediate. It's not about being in the mood. It's about being committed to the outcome. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's the daily decision to rise above the noise, to say no to temptations that lead nowhere, to block out the distractions that pull you off course. Because distractions will always be there. The urge to escape, delay, avoid, that never goes away. What changes is your relationship to it. Discipline is what gives you the strength to stay on track when everything around you tries to pull you off. You cannot build focus without boundaries. You cannot stay consistent without rules. You need structure not to confine you, but to free you. Because when your day has direction, when your time has purpose, when your habits are aligned with your goals, you don't waste energy deciding what to do. You just do it. That's the power of discipline. It removes indecision. It removes the excuse. It removes the gap between thought and action. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want. That's not freedom. That's chaos. True freedom is having the power to choose what's right over what's easy. It's having the internal strength to delay gratification, to postpone comfort, to say no to what doesn't serve your highest purpose. And that power is built through discipline. Not once, not in one big moment, but daily. In the small decisions, the micro habits, the things no one sees. Discipline trains your mind to stop negotiating with excuses. It builds a version of you that doesn't need to feel like it to show up. It removes the emotion from the equation and replaces it with execution. You show up because that's who you are now. You follow through because your standards won't allow anything less. That's the discipline that gives birth to deep, relentless focus. Without discipline, the mind becomes a playground for distraction. It wanders, it drifts. But with discipline, your focus becomes a weapon, targeted, controlled, unstoppable. It's not that discipline eliminates struggle. It prepares you to face it without folding. It builds resilience. It toughens your will. It turns your focus from fragile to unshakable. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you gain momentum. Every time you resist the urge to scroll, to quit, to delay, you grow stronger. That strength compounds, that control compounds. And one day you look back and realize that everything you've built, everything you've achieved, Everything you've become was born from the moments you said, no, I'm not giving in. I'm staying the course. This is the edge. This is the difference maker. Everyone can start, but few can finish. Few can show up every day when no one's watching, when there's no applause, when it's just you, the goal, and the grind. That's where discipline lies. That's where the focus rise while the distracted fall. Discipline doesn't shoot. It whispers. It says, keep going. It says, this is who we are now. The truth is, discipline isn't restrictive. It's empowering. It gives you clarity in a noisy world. It gives you strength when your willpower fades. It keeps you moving when your motivation dies, because it will die. You will wake up tired, uncertain, uninspired. But if you're disciplined, it doesn't matter. You still act. You still deliver. Without discipline, your focus will break the first time life gets hard, the first time it gets boring, the first time it feels pointless. But with discipline, you push through that wall. You push through the mental fog, through the emotional fatigue, through the temptation to ease up, and you come out stronger on the other side. That's what it means to be focused. Not to feel it, but to choose it. So if you want to become unstoppable, don't chase focus. Build disciplines. Build the ability to direct your attention, own your time, to rule your habits. Build the will to do what matters, especially when it's hard, because that's where the magic happens. That's where lives are changed. Not in bursts of motivation, but in the quiet, a daily battle between who you are and who you're becoming. And discipline is the bridge. Stay locked in. Choose the hard thing. Do it daily, and watch how your discipline becomes your superpower and your focus becomes your path to greatness. There's a power most people ignore, a power that doesn't come from doing more, but from choosing less. It's the power to say no. Not a casual no, not a maybe later, but a firm, intentional, committed no. That word has the potential to reshape your life, your direction, your future. Because every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you are saying yes to something greater. And most people are too afraid to use that power. They want to please. They want to be liked. They want to be everywhere with everyone, doing everything. And in that desperation to say yes to the world, they end up saying no to themselves. Saying yes is easy. It feels good in the moment. It avoids conflict. It buys approval, but it also drains your energy, steals your focus, and clutters your life with obligations that have nothing to do with your goals. The ability to say no is not about rejection. It's about protection. It's about drawing a line around your energy, your mission, your priorities, and refusing to let anything cross it without purpose. Every distraction you fall into started as something you didn't say no to. Every hour lost to something meaningless began with a single compromise. One click, one conversation, one commitment, one distraction. You think you're being flexible, being open, being social, but what you're really doing is leaking energy. You're handing over your time, your most valuable asset, to things that don't move you forward. The most successful people are not the busiest. They are the most selective. They don't do everything. They do what matters. They've mastered the art of subtraction. They know that growth is just about adding more. It's about cutting away what's in the way. They're not afraid to be misunderstood, disliked, or judged for protecting their space, because they know what's at stake. They know what saying yes to the wrong thing costs them. And they've decided the price is too high. You have to get clear on what matters to you, not what sounds good, not looks good on paper, not what impresses other people. What actually matters to you, what moves your life forward, what aligns with your purpose. And once you know that you must guard it ruthlessly, that clarity gives your no its power, because now it's not a rejection, it's a decision to honor your path, to protect your mental space, to respect your time. Saying no is not a weakness, it's a superpower. It takes strength to walk away from what's comfortable. It takes courage to turn down the invitations, the distractions, the noise. And it takes vision to recognize that every yes comes at a cost. When you say yes to one thing, you're automatically saying no to something else. Maybe it's your focus. Maybe it's your goals. Maybe it's your peace. So ask yourself, is it worth it? We live in a world that glorifies hustle, multitasking, constant activity, but that mindset burns people out. It creates chaos, not results. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to do everything. You need to lock in on what moves the needle and eliminate the rest. Not laziness, that's mastery, that's ownership, that's wisdom. When you learn to say no, you take your power back. You no longer live on someone else's agenda. You stop reacting and start creating. You move from distraction to direction. You stop living by default and start living by design. And you'll notice something else happens when you start saying nog, your standards rise. You stop tolerating the mediocre. You stop entertaining low-value tasks, low-value people, low-value habits. You demand more from yourself and from your environment. And that shift changes everything. It won't be easy. Saying no might disappoint people. It might create tension. It might make you feel guilty. But let that discomfort teach you something. Let it remind you that your growth is not supposed to feel comfortable, that your future is more important than someone else's temporary approval, that your peace, your energy, your goals, they are not up for negotiation. And the beautiful part is the more you practice saying no, the stronger you become. You build boundaries, you build discipline, you build trust with yourself, you start showing up differently, more focused, more intentional, more powerful, because now you're living with purpose, not pressure, with clarity, not confusion, with direction, not distraction. You are not obligated to respond to everything that calls your name. You are not required to participate in everything that asks for your time. You are allowed to choose. You are allowed to protect your energy. And you are allowed to put yourself and your vision first, not out of selfishness, but out of alignment, because you cannot serve the world. You cannot become your best. You cannot reach your peak if you're constantly drained by things that don't matter. So own your no. Use it with conviction. Use it to clear your path. Use it to build a life that reflects who you are and what you value. Because the truth is, your greatest power is not in doing more. It's in choosing less noise, less distraction, less compromise, and more of what truly matters. You want to know what makes someone truly unstoppable. It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's focus, pure, locked in, unshakable focus. The ability to shut out the noise, eliminate the excuses, and channel every ounce of energy into one clear direction. When you master that, you become a force that nothing can touch. Most people drift. They don't even realize it, but they're floating through life reacting to whatever shows up. One minute they're excited about a goal. The next they're pulled into something completely irrelevant. They have big dreams, but no traction. Ambition without direction, energy without control. That's not power. That's chaos, and chaos doesn't build empires. Chaos doesn't produce greatness. But focus does. Focus sharpens everything. It gives your actions meaning. It gives your thoughts clarity. It turns potential into results. When you're focused, you stop wasting time. You stop second guessing. You stop wondering what's next. You already know what's next because your vision is locked in. You're not hoping for success. You're creating it step by step, decision by decision, day by day. When you master focus, your world changes. You begin to move faster. You make decisions quicker. You execute without hesitation. The clutter in your mind clears. The distractions lose their power. And suddenly the goals that used to feel distant, unreachable even, start coming into view. Because now you're not splitting your power in 10 different directions. You're aiming like a laser, and lasers cut through everything in their path. Think about what happens when you're truly locked in. Time slows down, everything else fades away, you become fully present. Your energy is amplified. You get more done in an hour than most do in a day. That's the zone. That's the place where breakthroughs are made, where momentum is born, where confidence is built. But you don't get there by accident. You get there by training your mind, by conditioning your habits, by protecting your focus like your future depends on it. Because it does. Distractions will always be there. That's the game. But the difference between those who win and those who wish is the ability to choose focus over comfort, purpose over pleasure, in mission over mindless motion. Focus isn't a feeling, it's a discipline, it's a skill. It's a decision you make over and over again, especially when it's hard. When you train yourself to stay locked in, you become immune to the chaos around you. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop comparing your path to others. You stop allowing every message, every alert, every conversation to steal your attention. You're building something real. You start building momentum. You start winning consistently. And with every small win, your belief gets stronger. You begin to realize just how powerful you really are when you're focused. The doubt fades. The hesitation disappears. The noise becomes irrelevant. You're not distracted by drama, opinions, or obstacles. You see them, but they don't move you. Because now you've built a level of clarity that makes everything else look blurry. Focus multiplies effort. It accelerates progress. It gives your days structure and your life direction. It's the great equalizer. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the fastest. You just have to be the one who stays focused longer than everyone else. That's how people rise. It's how legacies are built, not by doing everything, by doing the right things relentlessly. And here's the real secret. Once you master focus, you no longer need to be motivated. You don't wait to feel inspired. You've trained your mind to show up, to deliver, to finish. You've eliminated the negotiation in your head. You know what needs to be done and you do it because that's who you are now. That's power, it's control, that's freedom. You are capable of more than you know. But you will never touch that level if you keep getting pulled in every direction. If you want to become unstoppable, you must focus like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Your health, your relationships, your finances, your future, they are all shaped by what you focus on day after day, minute after minute. Nothing changes until your focus does. So make the decision, draw the line, cut the distractions, build the habits, protect your energy, get clear on your mission.